we're doing a giveaway. We are going to be giving away 3 copies of WWE 2K26 to those in our Discord. So join our Discord before WrestleMania if you want a chance at winning one of those. It's free to join, and it's a wrestling community where you could go and chat with other wrestling fans. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Let's get to the video. Welcome to another RTP wrestling video. I'm your host, RTP and ANTNHD. Usually my boy RTP John is in the building with me, but today he is out. He's probably out with the same thing I'm out with, man. We were at AEW Revolution yesterday, one of the greatest shows I've been a part of, live and in person. It was so much fun. I was supposed to record this episode last night, but I would be lying if I didn't confess that I was way too drunk to record an episode last night. So now we're recording it today where I'm way too hungover to record an episode. But we got to get this Revolution content out to you guys because this show was amazing. First off, I want to talk about kind of the experience before we get into the actual booking of the show. I went with my boy Noah, who he's gone to meet a Revolution last year. We usually go to wrestling shows together. So he's a familiar face. Now, John, it was John's first live AEW performance. And man, what a show for him to see pretty much everyone. We didn't really miss any of the big AEW stars. For him to be there for that and his first experience was amazing. And then I also took my little brother Isaiah with me. He's a dog. He's a beast. And he is a WWE head. So the whole show we're joking about converted him to AEW. And we finally did it. As far as the crowd goes, I went to Survivor Series and I posted a review on that in, I think it was November Survivor Series was. That crowd was one of the worst wrestling crowds I've been a part of. So it was so refreshing being a part of this AEW crowd and having a great time with my people. The crowd's always lit. Everyone's laughing, talking shit, yelling. We had a dude next to us. When we go batch by batch, I'll kind of tell you guys some of the stuff he was saying. But he was so loud the whole time. And I was just happy because I feel like if you get put in a shit section and you're in a mood and he came alone, you're not going to be as loud. But because me and my boys were already loud, laughing, our section was loud, laughing, yelling at Big Justice and the Rizzler, doing all that. It just makes everyone around us so much more comfortable and so much more fun of a total experience. So we're going to go match by match. Let's start off with the pre-show. The pre-show opened up with Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall. The Rizzler was out there. The Rizzler got stiff-armed. A lot of these like wrestling review apps or wrestling review content creators, I don't know why. The content creators not as much, but the review apps don't like these matches. Like, you have to understand with wrestling, there's the Takeshas of the world where you're going to get a great technical masterclass. And then there's matches like these where, for me, if I'm in the crowd, bro, just a good time. And even if you're watching at home and you can't find enjoyment in this match because you want to watch some real wrestling, I think you're watching the wrong sports. American programming has a lot of this funny stuff, and I'm a huge fan of it. So I like this match. Let me pull up my review. I believe I gave this match 3.5 stars on Dropkick. Follow me on Dropkick, by the way. Dropkicked at Anthony E1 to see all my reviews. But as far as the pre-show goes, I think this was the best match by far. And I gave this match a 3.5 stars. We go over to the women's World Tag Team Champion. The TBS champion, Lena Cross versus Willow Nightingale. I'll be honest, boys. I went and got a beer. I'm just not too big of a fan of Nightingale. And this whole AEW women's division needs a spark. And we'll talk about it later. I think they got that spark in this show. But yeah, I just was like, all right, I don't really care too much. I haven't seen enough Lena Cross to be excited about her. And Willow, it's like she was working double duty tonight anyway. So I was like, I know I'm going to see her. So I went and got a beer during this match. I didn't rate it because I'm not about to do that. This Blackjack Battle Royal was the match I was probably most excited for prior to the show. We were talking a lot. We were hyped about it. I was hyped to see Tommaso Ciampa's entrance. You know, it's kind of a running joke between me and my family. My shadow knows my story. Elite theme song, elite entrance. The crowd, I felt like, was not really there for this match, though. It was pretty quiet. Everyone was just kind of rooting for Jungle Boy, which is fine. It was Jack Perry, Ricochet, and I think forgetting who else. There was someone that was just talking the whole time saying that's who we want to win, and like everyone in the crowd was kind of. I think Ciampa was on the list too, but they just weren't. They weren't loud for Ciampa's entrance, and it's such a good theme. And where we were seated, we were lined up with the pyro on that side, so you feel the heat. It was cool. On AEW's website, I'm going in the order from here. They have the Tornado Trios match between Roddy Strong, Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin versus the Dogs. I thought this match was really good, but put in a terrible fucking spot on the card because this match was not the opener of the show. This match went on right before the main event, and it's like if you're new to the audience, like the Dogs are, even though they pop up here and there, but we're not going to be hyped about that, compared to like the stuff we already saw Moxley, we already saw Ospreay, we already saw Cope, like we saw everyone, and now like right before the main event, I'm supposed to be hyped about the Dogs, which I love the Dogs. I'm a huge Gabe Kidd fan. And even like the other guys, Roddy, Orange Cassidy, Darby, those are like AEW staples at this point. But it just was like again, this was a fun match, a great match. I was a fan of this match, but I just think they put it in the wrong spot on the card. If this was somewhere in the middle, I think I'm talking about this match a little bit different as a fun 3-on-3 match. But where it was in the card, I was like, I could kind of snooze on this. Now, Toni Storm versus Marina Shafir, I can't remember much from it, honestly. I was sipping during this. So that probably means it was forgettable, but it's about the ending of this match. The ending of this match with Ronda Rousey return, or not return, AEW debut, makes it so much more fun. I think this AEW's women's division, if Toni Storm's not going to be the world champion, they need someone like a Ronda Rousey in there that's just going to be like, all right, I want to watch because I want to root against Ronda Rousey. This show did not have Mercedes Moné. It had Toni Storm in a mid-card feud. Like, I'm not a big Statlander guy. I love Tekla, but I don't think Tekla has that like star power yet to be put in these positions. So I think having like Toni Storm and Mercedes as like long champions for now makes a lot of sense. Mercedes probably should get slotted in that world championship spot, but I'm guessing All In is where they're going to do that. Maybe she comes back as a face and Tekla holds it till then. But that kind of distracts from this. Toni Storm and Marina Shafir both are great workers, and Marina Shafir is someone who's grown on me in the last couple months. I always was like, oh, she has aura and she has the look, but can she really go? And I think in the last couple months, ever since the tag stuff, I think she's slowly gotten over to me. Now, you guys might all be saying like, oh, she's been that, and maybe she has. But I really don't think so from what I've seen. But again, I think it's just the look and her being in the Death Riders. And I'm really hoping Ronda joins the Death Riders as well as part of this group. Andrade versus Bandito is next on the site. And this match was, after the show, this match was reviewed the highest on Dropkicked. This is one of those matches where I'm not going to sit here and break it down because I never wrestled a day in my life. It was just good hoops. It was just fun to watch, fun, high flying. It's cool seeing Andrade get put in these positions. I saw people online complaining that this wasn't a main event level feud. And sure, maybe it isn't, but this is AEW, bro. We're here for the matches. And this was a great match. One of those matches where like I said, like having my brother there who isn't really familiar with Andrade because he's a WWE guy, and Andrade just never got the ability to cook in WWE. And Bandito, who's a guy that if you don't watch AEW weekly, you probably don't know who Bandito is. Being there to experience both of them in their best form, I was happy to see that for my family. And yeah, my boys. Next, Swerve versus Brody. Now, I'm a little disappointed that I haven't brought up the homie. So there was a random guy sitting with us, heckling the whole time, right? Just yelling, having a good time. He kept yelling, "We're the best wrestle." And then it was at this point where he got up, he told my boy, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to get you a beer before the main event." So we were all lit. We were like, okay, like Noah's getting a beer. We're going to have a good time. We're going to drink a little. This guy's cool as fuck. So he's hooking it up. Noah, okay, well, backtrack a little bit. Terrible fucking podcasting right now. Backtrack a little bit. This dude dropped his Reese's Pieces down where all the producers are. He dropped it down on the side of the stairs. So Noah was like, all right, I'm going to go get you Reese's Pieces then if you're going to get me a beer. So Noah went, buys the Reese's Pieces. Our guy's still gone. He's still in the bathroom. He's still getting a beer wherever. We didn't see him the rest of the show, bro. And that was heartbreaking to me because I know that guy was
was drunk off his ass. I hope he didn't get thrown out. And if you're watching this somewhere in the world, please fucking hit my DMs, bro. You were so cool. We had a great time with you, brother, and we're hoping you're good. Back to wrestling, though. Swerve versus Brody was amazing. I thought this was amazing. The fuck ice chants, whether you're political or not, it's just a fun fucking thing to chant. You know, especially in LA. You know, we're in LA. Let's not get it twisted. That's where Brody's from. I thought there was a chance Brody went over here. He didn't. And then after the match, Swerve gets the cinder block, sets up Brody, and then Kenny Omega returns. And you know what kind of pissed me off? I was like, Bandito's kind of a fucking hoe for not coming out. For not coming out and setting up Swerve. You know, I get he got a match and whatever. But Kenny Omega beat in there before Bandito. Or maybe he told Bandito something like, hey, bro, don't step in. King Kenny gonna come out. I got you. But, yeah, maybe I want to see the Brody Bandito feud at this point. I'm cool with the Bandito. A Brody heel character that's more human and not like super Aleister Black, evil, whatever. I'd be fine with that. We got this women's tag match here as well. So this wasn't a beer break, but I was checked out. I think I got a beer during the entrances or something like that. I just don't really care. Honestly, I'm happy Megan Bayne and Lena Cross won because I feel like Megan Bayne is a superstar level talent that hasn't really won much in AEW yet. So it was cool to see her get her first title and like be there for that. But yeah, I mean, someone needs to put me on some Lena Cross. I don't get why everyone hypes her up. And then Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, they're fine, but it's hard for me to believe this like Willow Nightingale I work 2 match gimmick when Lena Cross also worked 2 matches and she went out there kind of fine and not after losing a match. So didn't love that. Now we get the Don Callis family versus I don't even know, they gotta have a name now that they're champions, but Kevin Knight, Mike Bailey, and Mystico. One thing that I was so excited for before the show was the Mystico entrance, and I felt like the LA crowd kind of let me down with this. Now it was loud in there for sure, but they didn't know the words. I don't speak Spanish, but I was like kind of assuming like we're in LA, we got a lot of Spanish speakers in the area. I mean, we got a fuck ice chant, but y'all don't know the words to Mystico song. That's what I wanted to see. But other than that, man, them coming out with the luchador mask was cool. Kevin Knight is just a one-of-one talent. I genuinely think he's going to win a world title sometime in the next 2 to 3 years. The Kevin Knight versus fucking Kyle Fletcher feud for the world title at All In 2029 is going to be cinema. But Speedball obviously does his thing. And then the Don Callis family, man. Don Callis is just one-of-one. I didn't talk about Collision on This Week in Wrestling, but Andrade had a match in the main event, and I'm blanking on who his opponent was. And I rated that match so high just because I was dying laughing at Don Callis on commentary. I wish I could rewatch this and hear Don Callis on commentary. But, yeah, you guys let me know if he had any zings because he's sneaky with it. We had the AEW World Tag Team Championship match between FTR and the Young Bucks. And this was a match that, obviously, I'm going to be so excited for. I mean, these guys don't miss. Match quality-wise, maybe not their best work, but it still was like damn near a 5-star match. It was just perfect all around. All the false finishes are stuff I like. Look, a lot of AEW guys complain about this in WWE, where it's like, it took 5 finishers or whatever. Like, and then we go to AEW and you get matches like this and it's cinema. I like both. Just ball on ball. You know, don't be an AEW mark. Don't be a WWE mark. Watch wrestling. Watch wrestling, dog. This was a banger. I was so happy to see Edge come out after this match. Adam Copeland. Real quick, we got another dude sitting next to us, right? And I'll just tangent really quick. We had another dude sitting next to us who called him Cope. And I was like, bro, I don't really do the Cope stuff, bro. If you want to go Adam Copeland, I'll let that fly. If you go Edge, I'll let that fly. But I'm not calling him Cope. Then we were talking about how Mercedes Moné wasn't on the card. And I was like, some Sasha Banks isn't here. He's like, it's actually Mercedes Moné. I was like, come on, brother. Because during this match, he called Dax Harwood Dax Shepard. And, you know, I keep my mouth shut. I keep my mouth shut because I'm not the actually. This is not Polar Express. This is Sabu. Simple as that. But this was crazy. Edge being there was crazy. I was fucking screaming top of my lungs. But if you hear On This Day and you're quiet sitting down, I'm not going to say nothing. But you know what it is. you definitely know what it is. This was amazing, and it didn't make sense to me in the moment why FTR won, but when Edge came out immediately, it's like, okay, let's get that Evenge Rated R. AEW Continental Championship match, Cinema Moxley versus Takeshita. Another one of those where it's like just good graps. John brought it up to me at the show, which kind of made sense. This match, I want to look it up, but I think we clocked it at like 28 minutes, which is perfectly fine. But in a no limit draw, I kind of expected like an hour match or something like that. For it to be 23 minutes, like, then what was the point of the time limit? They went 4 minutes over the time limit. You know, they should have been like, all right, instead of no time limit, they should have been like an extra 5 minutes have been added. You know, doesn't really get the same pop. I wanted an hour long banger out of this match, but I can't even be mad, bro. If Takeshita and Moxley are going to be doing this, and Moxley winning was all right. I wanted Takeshita to win, but when Ospreay came out, someone correct me if I'm wrong. We have not gotten Moxley versus Ospreay in AEW, correct? Because I can't recall seeing that. So seeing a Moxley versus Ospreay Continental Classic Rules match, go ahead, bro. Two of the best in the world, honestly. I said this at the show, and I got a couple side eyes, but I truly believe when Moxley comes out, it feels like Stone Cold. Not in the sense of like he's as good as Stone Cold, he's as great as Stone Cold, he has impacted as much as Stone Cold. Not saying that. He's just as cool as Stone Cold, bro. He's just as cool. That's all I'm saying. He comes out with the water through the crowd, you know, doing this shit and all that. I can get behind that with John Moxley. We go to the 2 out of 3 Falls women's match. Man, I wanted this to win me over because I don't want to sit here and shit on all the women's matches in AEW, but I feel like their division just isn't what it used to be when Toni Storm was on top. I'm hoping Ronda could maybe do something about that star quality because I just don't care. A 2 out of 3 Falls match where Tekla wins, like, it's cool. Again, shout out Chris Statlander, but I wanted to see a little bit more from this match and more from her because I'm just not a big fan of her, and I don't want to see her in the main event after this feud. Tekla, I think, is great. I don't know if she's ready to have the world title yet. But she's cool. Maybe I gotta just see her against somebody else, but I don't even know who that's gonna be. Maybe it's Sasha Mercedes, because Tony's gonna get tied up with Ronda, but I don't know who the other face women are that could challenge Tekla, you know, and that sucks because this division needs like a money feud to get it electric. Unless Ronda's just going to go straight for the top. But then what was the point of the Toni Storm stuff? You know, she should have came out after this match, which would have been even cooler. But anyway, shout out Tekla. But if she came out after this, she would be face Ronda Rousey's ass. Main event time. Now, this was a match that I did not want to watch in person because I get like giddy when they start doing the heebie-jeebie stuff with the needles and the barbed wire and tacks and glass and all that. I held up well, you know. I let the beers kind of let me float a little bit. But Hangman loses a match where he can never challenge for the world title again. And this is where I think they're going. I think the name of the next pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, sets the tone for what the rest of their feud should be. It should definitely be a Double or Nothing at Double or Nothing. Hangman's career versus MJF's title. Simple. That's Double or Nothing. Or maybe just Hangman's career versus MJF. No title on the line, and if Hangman wins, he gets a title shot after that. But he doesn't have to put his championship aspirations on the line or whatever. This match was fun, though. This match was 5 stars easily. The glass spots were cool. The spot with the pyro was cool. I wish I was sitting on the other side of that. I wish it was on my side where we saw all that boom, boom happen. What I like is the no returns, no big moments in this match. It was just kind of like MJF wins, let's sit there. I did not realize this match was 46 minutes long. But it was great. It was fucking great. Like, it just felt good. Good hoops. That's what it's all about, man. That's what AEW is bringing. Let me know what you guys think about that Double or Nothing theory. Because my boy said that in the car, and I was so drunk, I thought that was the best idea ever. And now sitting here thinking about it, it might be. It might be the best idea ever. But, again, let us know at home. How does Hangman get out of this? Where do they go from here? You know? If Ospreay's tied up with Mox, Kenny's tied up with Swerve, MJF has has a cowboy, has some cowboy shit. That's what I think is going on. But you guys, again, let me know at home what you guys think. Do you guys like this quick episode solo? Shout out John, shout out Noah, shout out Izzy, shout out all my AEW boys for being there yesterday. And make sure you guys join the Discord down below to enter for a chance at WWE 2K26. I'm your host, RTP, ANT, NHD, and I'm out. Conductor!